Alright, welcome back everybody. We're on the driver's side rear quarter of the 51 Ford here. I wanted to show you guys a quick video of how I lay a fiberglass reinforced filler and start to do the body work. So this is short strand reinforced 3M body filler. It's kind of like a Bondo and a fiberglass hybrid. So I've done metal work in the past on cars, and I've noticed that if you go from metal work right to Bondo, there's going to be major places where the body actually twists, and some of these panels will actually twist while you're driving the car. And I noticed that I would get cracks and things like that. So I started dabbling into short strand fiberglass, and first I started out with one product. It was okay, and I noticed that there was the same thing, cracks again. So then I kept looking around and did a little research, and I found this 3M short strand fiberglass filler, and I've done a couple cars this way. So you go your metal work, you go the short strand 3M reinforced fiberglass, and then you sand that down, and then you put your Bondo, your 3M Bondo on, because in my opinion 3M Bondo, it's a really good product, doesn't leave any pinholes. It's a really good product to spread on, it spreads easily and things like that. So that's from going through a lot of different products. I noticed that that and a couple other products are really top of line products. And another good thing about this reinforced short strand fiberglass filler here is that if there's any moisture or anything, that this will actually protect the panel from moisture. It's waterproof, so that's another good thing. And after I do all the body work and everything that I want to do here, what I usually do is I'll spray epoxy primer on the whole car, and I'll finish the interior, I'll do everything like that, engine, all that, and then I'll drive it for a year or a couple summers, and then if everything looks okay and nothing's rubbing, and everything's closing correctly, and the hood's not hitting the fender or anything like that, causing any paint problems, then what I'll do is I'll wet sand that down, and then I'll give a true paint job. And we all know once we give our cars true paint jobs, we don't even want to breathe on it, because it takes a lot to keep the paint job looking fresh and clean and no nicks, no nothing like that. So we do like to drive the cars, but I like to finish mine off in a show quality driver aspect. So it's not too crazily done to where you don't even want to breathe on it, but just enough to where you're like, man, that looks good, So that's the whole thing that we're going to do on this one. I did want to leave it bare metal. It does look cool bare metal, but to showcase everything that I can do, I got to bring her to the next level. So that's what we're going to do. So I freshly ground down the whole panel with a flapper disc, made sure that there was no surface rust, anything like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 3M fiberglass, and I'm going to apply it onto the quarter panel. Now when you're applying this fiberglass, you're not trying to do a buildup on the panel, you're just trying to really give it a skim coat, and then you're going to sand that down, and you're going to see if you have any high spots in the metal, that metal will poke through first. Then if you think it needs another skim coat of the fiberglass to get that metal just buried enough to where you can barely see that metal coming through the panel, then you go into the Bondo work. You Bondo the panel, do the same thing where you can almost see metal poking through in a whole bunch of places. Then you go into primer, and primer will do its work by filling in all those, slight low areas. So all these products work for each other to get a perfect laid flat surface. And we all know that this surface was meant to be bowed out and then in and out. And I want to mimic that here. And we have a lot of convex shape, things like that. So, you know, it's not the norm. So we have to remember that we have all that going on too. So here we go. This is a brand new gallon here. Got like got an additive that makes it spread well, and it keeps it very pliable. So I'm gonna mix all this up. If you don't mix this thing up and you just start laying fiberglass, you know, whatever this the short strand stuff is, then by the time you get down to the bottom of the gallon, all the stuff's really hard to spread because you didn't put that additive all back into the product. Just something else I learned. Let me see if I can position this. Alright, so taking a paint stick and I'm just going around the hole. Oh, it almost broke on me. They don't make these paint sticks like they used to. Now that it's pretty much all mixed together, take my paint stick, I'm going to roll it up, and I'm going to slowly start putting it on. And depending on how hot it is, you don't want to mix too much, and you want to really get the product on there and then spread it out. And you want to only do an area to where once you have to stop and it's going to start hardening on the surface, you want to make sure that you have a good even point to start again, because you're not going to be able to slap this whole side at one time. I like to try to fill up, I'd say a 10 by 10 inch area. It's all about how comfortable you feel about laying, how much you need to lay before, you know, the stuff starts to harden, because then you're just wasting product. And once it starts to harden, you don't want to put it on a car. Alright, so that's pretty good. Okay, about a good hand-sized area. I'm going to put my cap back on here, put this back down on the ground. Make sure you knead your hardener here. And when I add this hardener, so I'm going to try to position it to where you guys can see. So you go one, and then back a half, and that should be good enough. Now I'm going to put this aside because I'm going to keep using that paint stick to get that product out of that gallon there. So I'm going to take the spreader, I'll show you. Get all that hardener in there and keep flapping it over itself. Make sure you keep going so you don't see any blue streaks in the it back out, make sure you're good. Alright, now we're good to go. So, take a lot on the spreader. Just going to start laying it down. Now I'm at an awkward angle, so I'm going to get into a better angle here. Once you get the hardener in this stuff, you better work pretty quick. We go all the way to the back. And the more you spread this stuff out, the better. Because you don't want to build up too much with this product. You know, you'll get problems later on down the road. You don't want to flood it. You just want to give it a nice quick coat. Then the bottom places, just start adding. Fill up a good amount of area. Try to flatten it out as much as you can, as quick as you can. And if you have extra on the back of your spreader, you can always add it to places where you know you need it. There you go. Best thing to do is just get it all on there where you know you're gonna be able to spread it out to. Now that we got it almost all on there, keep smoothing it out. Any areas where you think you need a little more, you can put more. After doing this for a while, you know, so many years, becomes second nature on how to really spread this stuff easily. And if you know that there's a low spot still, then before you start sanding and everything, just go back and add a little to those problem areas. Start out where I began, and this is going to be like the final lay down of the product here. starts to dry on you and it starts to tack up real bad, best to just let it be and then go back and add more later. And you could always sand and then add after you take your blow gun and make sure that the panel is dust free, because dust will create an adhesion problem. Just want to give this stuff the best chance to adhere to the metal. And remember, this is just the fiberglass stuff. The Bondo is what really, gets the spread going real nice. So now she's starting to dry up, and that's about all we can do to her because it's starting to dry up already. So now that the fiberglass is drying, we like our shape here. You can now, if you're good with what you have, then you can take your tape off, or if there's barely any on there, you don't have to worry about it until you're done with Bondo and stuff like that. So another good rule of thumb to save your product and everything, like your spreaders, I'm going to take a shop rag. I'm going to clean my spreader real quick. So another rule of thumb would be, have gloves, of course, but I don't mind just washing my hands thoroughly. So you take your spreader, get it to where it's starting to become like crumbly almost. Then I'm just gonna slowly clean my spreader. There you go. Now you can use it again. Now with this cardboard, I just cut out, any cardboard I get, I cut into, squares, and then you gotta have your backside too. Make sure you get any dirt or debris off of there. Flip it around. You're good to go for your next slap. When I mean slap, I mean adding the filler to the metal panel. So now that it's pretty much drying up, there's nothing we can do to it. But at this time, when it starts to get nice and tacky, now you could add your second coat if you have any problem areas and things like that. And then we can go on to the other side, and if you look on this side, you can see up here how close you are really to the metal. So as long as you're sticking out your metal, you know that you're not really doing too much of a buildup of the product. So you should be able to see almost the metal through the product in most places. So we got this little area done. That'll get all body worked. I still got to pull some dents out with a dent puller, and I didn't do anything here yet because I still want to do those metal spears that go all the way through the body. So I'm just doing this right now because it protects it from moisture, and you don't have to sand on it again if it starts to surface rust, because it won't, because it's got the stuff on there. So all this will get sanded down, and then if there's any little problem areas, we'll add a little, and then you go into Bondo. So that's about all you do there. And that's what this whole car will get. So with just that little slap, we got almost, say, 35% of the quarter panel done. So you just continue, and these gallons, they used to be pretty cheap. They used to be, I think, at one time they were like 68 a gallon, and with inflation and everything happening, they went up to about $100. So with my amount of income and what have you, I have been able to buy 1 gallon every other week, and that's how it's gonna go till the car is, you know, in all done in Bondo. So after the fiberglass filler, then will come the actual 3M Bondo, and then from there I have a product called Dolphin Glaze Putty, where it takes off any little tiny imperfections. You go around and you like spot it, and then you wet sand that in. We'll go through the whole process here. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. You know, I want to show you guys something else too. So yesterday, what I wanted to do was, I had the engine stand, the cherry picker out, and the engine and the transmission were on the cherry picker for about since last October, so almost a year. And I wanted to take the engine stand that I got for $50, and I put the engine, if you see the bolts and the spacers, I kept the flywheel on there, and it's all mounted to the cherry picker now. I mean, to the engine stand instead of the cherry picker. I got the cherry picker all declapped, you know, so it's in storage now, and transmission is right over here. I believe this is a 4-speed. So that's the trans. I'm gonna end up putting it back on the cherry picker once I get it all back together. Then we'll put it in the car. I'll do all the engine mounts, and I'll set the pinion angle, all that kind of fun jazz. And then the engine will go in and everything. But I wanted to get most of this body work done and everything, so she doesn't keep rusting up on me, because I'd say every 4 weeks, depending on how the moisture is outside, she'll start to want to surface rust on me. So alright, gentlemen, till next time, this is Dead Slug Customs signing out. I'm going to end up probably using this whole rest of this gallon today, and then after this is all in 3M fiberglass reinforced filler, then we'll do another video of sanding it down and doing any problem areas, then going into actual Bondo work. I'll show you guys the tools I use and everything like that. Have a good rest of you guys' weekend, and stay tuned for next episode. Thanks again, everybody, for liking the videos and all the great compliments. It means a lot to me. Until next time, have a good one, everybody.